Every night as darkness fell, a strange thing happened. A glowing lantern would float above the lake near the village where young Tari lived with her family. No one knew why. Some said it was a will-o'-the-wisp, a mischievous spirit that lured travelers away from the path. But Old Man Hemlock claimed it was no wisp, but a warning. Lost souls, he'd say, shaking his head, are trapped between worlds, unable to move on because some selfish living person stole their lantern and now they wander the twilight realm forever. One night, curiosity got the better of Tari, and she followed the floating lantern. It led her along winding paths through whispering reeds until she came to a small boat. Without a word, it carried her across the lake to a world unlike her own. Here, houses floated like balloons above a soft green grass. People with animal tails and furry ears walked by, some pushing glowing lanterns before them. Others sat on benches feeding fish that glowed in the dark. Then Tari saw an old woman sitting on a nearby tree stump. She had kind eyes and a warm smile. And when she saw Tari, she beckoned for her to come closer. "You found me," she said, her voice like rustling leaves. "I've been waiting for you." "Who are you?" asked Tari, confused. The old woman gestured to the lantern floating above them. "That is my lantern. Every night it guides lost children home, but no one has come to claim it for many years. I have waited patiently, hoping the child who took it would someday return it." As she spoke, more people with animal tails and furry ears came up to her, each holding out a hand. "Please, kind lady," they said, "help us find our way home." Tari felt a pang of sympathy for these poor lost souls. She wanted to help them, but how? Then she noticed a small hut nearby with a thatched roof and glowing windows. Maybe inside, she could find someone who knew how to light a lantern. When she knocked on the door, a small, shy creature peeked out at her. "Please come in," he said, noticing her kind eyes. Inside the hut, hundreds of lanterns hung from the ceiling, and the shy creature explained that he was a fixer, a helper of sorts. He mended torn clothes, sharpened lost teeth, and most importantly, lit lanterns for those who had lost their way. Seeing how determined Tari was to help the lost souls, he agreed to teach her how to light her own lantern so she could guide other children home. It wasn't easy, though. At first, all that happened was a little puff of smoke. Then the fixer had an idea. He gathered some dry leaves and made a small pile in front of Tari. "Think of the person you love the most," he said, "and focus on that thought as you light the lantern." Closing her eyes, Tari thought of her grandmother, who had passed away when Tari was very young. All the stories her grandmother used to tell her about magical lands and mythical creatures suddenly came flooding back to her. With a deep breath, she began to light the lantern. At first, only a tiny flame appeared, but as she thought of her grandmother's kind eyes and gentle smile, the flame grew larger and brighter until it filled the lantern with light. Overjoyed, Tari ran outside to show the old woman, who beamed at her. "Well done," she said, taking the lantern. "Now you must find the child who stole it and return it to them. Only then will these poor souls be able to move on." With the lantern in hand, Tari retraced her steps, following the path to the lake. Soon, she heard the sound of singing and drums and saw a group of children dancing around a bonfire. One of them was a little boy who looked about 10. As Tari watched, he tripped and fell, dropping something that looked like a lantern-shaped cloud. When the boy looked up and saw Tari, he began to cry. "I'm sorry," he sobbed. "I didn't mean to steal your lantern. I just wanted to play with the others." Gently, Tari knelt down beside him. "It's all right," she said, holding out her hand. "Let's get you home." Taking her hand, the boy stood up. Together, they walked to the lake, where the boat appeared and carried them across to the other side. There, the old woman and the other children were waiting for them. "Thank you," said the old woman, taking the lantern from Tari. "You have freed us from our twilight prison. Now we can finally move on." And with that, the old woman and the other lost souls disappeared into the light. From that day forward, every night as darkness fell, two lanterns floated above the lake, one guiding the lost souls to the light, and the other showing the way home to any child who got too close and needed a guiding hand. And if you listen very carefully, you might just hear the sound of a small boy's laughter echoing through the reeds.